barely a block north of the more sedate Main Street. Canal Street was almost like another country butted up against Palmyra. Each had its own distinct citizenry, its own set of mores and traditions, even its own language, that of Canal Street being considerably more profane than that of the rest of the village. With such close proximity, it was difficult for the more respectable residents of Palmyra to totally ignore Canal Street and its denizens, but they did their best. Merchants and farmers had to go to the dock served them. More than one child has his bottom warmed for heeding the siren call of such a forbidden and fascinating world. This was not a place of picket fences, green lawns, or neatly tended gardens. The alleyways and the fence lines were lined with trash, blown along with the dust whatever the wind blew. Empty lots were littered with shards of rope, shattered crates, or even an occasional wagon box or broken wheel. The street itself was filled with the droppings from hundreds of ox, horse, to stay overnight at the home of her best friend, Elizabeth Ann Rowley. Elizabeth Ann's mother was in Ithaca, awaiting the birth of a new grandchild, and her father participle or something. Son, 90% legs and assumed it was his father. Look in this direction from Main Street. In a moment, the smell of the street almost over and stares of the men she passed frightened her a little. But she also felt a rush of excitement to be in this part of the village again. She had not been here since the canal had been finished 2 years earlier, and the rush of commerce had drastically changed its nature. At the corner of Market Street, she stopped and held Joshua's note up to the last of the fading light. Nervous. When Lydia had told Joshua she would be free this night, he had told her of his problem. The night watchman at the warehouse was sick, and Joshua could earn another 25 cents a day by sleeping there after his regular 12-hour shift. There was no way he could leave. But why couldn't she come to see chiding herself? Hard to look back over her shoulder. What if the man chose to follow her? Or what if Joshua weren't at the door? Her breath exploded from her lungs, and as she drew in another, she nearly gagged. The stench was overpowering. There was the door. She nearly flew to it and knocked sharply, fighting back the overwhelming desire to batter it with her fists. Joshua was there, standing large and He turned back to her and grinned. I about decided you weren't coming. She laughed, giving the windowless room a warm and cheerful glow. He pulled out a crudely made wooden stool and she sat down. He leaned back against a table built into one wall of the small office. I know this is a bad place to have you come, but I'm glad you did. I can't stay long, Joshua. If anyone sees me before I get back to Elizabeth Ann's house, I'll be in more trouble than even I want to think about. He nodded. I know, but it's been almost 2 weeks since we had a chance to be together, and they found out the watchman has tuberculosis. It could be another week or so before they find someone to take his place. She nodded, studying him as he talked. He had changed noticeably in the 3 months since he had left his family and moved into town. Much of that was attributable to the heavy, dark beard which covered the lower part of his face. Normally, Lydia didn't, but Joshua's was neatly trimmed, and she found it enhanced his narrow face and prominent features, making him even more handsome than usual. He had also filled out under the rigorous demands of dockwork. He was still lean through the waist, but his upper body was more muscular, his shoulders broader, his step more firm and sure. But the changes ran deeper than just the physical differences. When he had first come into the store the previous fall, but with a surety of word and purpose, he rarely blushed anymore, a trait Lydia had watched disappear with a trace. Confident, sometimes almost brash, moving out to grass black his hands. 2 weeks ago he had time. It was the only hesitation she had seen in him in almost a month. He was watching her with a sardonic grin. And what is going through that pretty little head of yours? Startled that she had gotten lost in her thoughts, she shook her head quickly. I was just thinking how much you've changed since you started working. He thought, what? Turned from a man into an ape? Hunched over, scratching under his armpits and making grunting noises. She laughed. That's what the foreman here wants, apes. Don't stop, don't think, don't even sweat. Just keep moving them bales of cotton. Keep them bags of wheat moving onto them barges. Here comes another wagon. Up and at it, you animals. His voice had gone from light humor to heavy bitterness. She slowly sobered. If you hate it that badly, why don't you get something else? He shrugged. I saw where Stephen Phelps is looking for store clerk. Yeah, he retorted. At half the pay I'm making. Half the pay, but twice the working conditions. I could take the working conditions. He leaned forward and dropped his voice a little, though they were alone. I send the family $2 a month to help out. It costs me $2 more for room and board. The other $6 I'm putting. Joshua had ever talked about savings, and it surprised her. He sat back, openly pleased with himself. I figure a year, maybe a year and a half, and I'll have enough to buy me a wagon and a team of my own. There's real money to be made in the freight business. That's a wonderful idea. It occurred to Lydia that being a teamster might be fine for a man, but not quite as wonderful for his wife and children. but she didn't say anything. It pleased her that he had plans beyond the noise and filth of Canal Street. "Speaking of your family," she said, "they were in the store last week." He frowned a little. "Nathan, too, I suppose?" Lydia did not miss the sudden petulance. She had mentioned Nathan once or twice in their recent conversations, and learned quickly that Joshua was jealous of any attention his younger brother paid to her. She was pleased she could shake her head. "No, just your mother and the other children." What she did not add was that Nathan had come in by himself just that morning, something that was happening with increasing frequency. Joshua didn't say anything. "They asked about you." "And did you tell them everything was wonderful?" "Joshua," she said softly, "why are you so bitter about this? It's not your mother's fault you and your father don't get along." He softened immediately. "You're right. I'm sorry." He took a quick breath. "How were they?" "Melissa gets prettier every day and blushes to the tips of her toes when I suggest it to her." Joshua smiled at that. Melissa is a special girl. She'll make someone a wonderful wife. Rebecca is an imp and Matthew is adorable. I can't help but slip those two a piece of candy each time I see them. The hardness completely gone from his face. Those two I do miss. Your mother said the harvest is looking very good. It's been a good year for everybody. And Pa, did she say anything about him? She said if I saw you, I was to tell you he sends his greetings and hopes all is well with you. He snorted. Oh, but that's just Ma's way of trying to smooth things between us. AKA lying like a bitch. No, lying will fix it, I promise. Fuck off, Mom. Go suck Dad's dick. Lydia let it pass, watching the emotions working across his face. She found herself comparing him to Nathan. There was a softness in Nathan, which at first it seemed like weakness, but which now she found intriguing. She had been around his mother enough to realize Nathan had inherited her gentle nature. That was a good word, gentleness, not weakness. Nathan was gentle, but there wasn't much that was gentle in Joshua Steed. Lydia thought of their father. Benjamin Steed had also been into the store several times now, and Lydia had no trouble understanding why there was bad blood between the father and his eldest son. They were so much alike in some ways, unbending, proud, quick to take offense at anything perceived to be a threat. "Have you thought about moving back?" she asked. "Oh my Jesus Christ, Father, Michael, God! For fuck's sake, you cunt-ass bitch women! Shut the fuck up! I'm trying to control! What the fucking hell? No, my plans that are actually working aren't good enough. It just has to be what you want, you cunt! By Jesus Christ, God!" "Have you thought about moving back?" "Jesus Christ, you cunt, no! Have you listened to a single fucking word I've said? No! You just believe the fucking lies!" Knowing she was moving onto sensitive ground, you could still come here to work and it would save you paying $2 a month room and board. Yeah, I could also just go dig a fucking hole near the river and sleep in that and drink water when I wake up and that. For fuck's sake, fucking back the fuck off! He shook his head quickly in disgust. $2 a month is worth it to not to have to face Pa every day. $2 a month is worth it to not. Wait, $2 a month is worth it not to have to face Pa every day. or even once a month. But you can put that away too. You can shut the fuck up and leave now, lady. Go suck my brother's dick, it's what you want. You're lying, and you're not even talking to me. You're not even being honest about it. Go fuck someone else.
But you could put that away too. That would get you out of here all the sooner.
Yeah, I know, you want me to fuck off. How about you just fucking leave and shut the fuck up and don't bother me anymore, you bitch cunt. Not a bitch yet, she hasn't had a child. He looked at her sharply. Working the docks is honest work. Oh, she realized she'd touched a nerve and backed away quickly. His mother had also raised concerns about the environment of the docks, and he was getting to be more and more. Oh my fucking God! For Christ's sake, Almighty God! Lord God Almighty! What the fuck is these fucking women's problem?
She realized she'd also...
How about you fucking shut the fuck up and fucking leave already? She realized she'd touched a nerve and backed away quickly. His mother had also raised concerns about the environment of the docks, and he was getting to be more and more defensive about it. But his determination to stay with it had also clinched any feelings Lydia's own father had about Joshua. A farmer was hardly what the McBrides had in mind for their only daughter. And as Joshua sat there and realized that this little cunt in front of him really didn't give a fucking shit about him and was just probably gonna go move in with his family and fuck his brother, for fuck's sake, it's amazing he didn't stand up, open the door, and wait for her to fucking leave already. By God. A farmer was hardly what the McBride... Plus your father fucking hates me and your mother fucking hates me. How about you just shut the fuck up? Literally, you got nothing else to do but fucking fight with me, huh? A farmer was hardly what the... It was an honorable profession. When her father had learned Joshua was working on Canal Street, he had absolutely, irrevocably forbidden Lydia to have any more contact with him. Lydia sighed. It actually fucking is! You little cunt! Shut the fuck up! Well, I ain't going back. So let's talk about something else. Nodding, she stood and moved away, looking past him into the dark recesses of the warehouse. For fuck's sake, she just wants him to go back home so that she can be with him and Nathan both together, yo! She'd pushed him enough and knew he could not be pushed anymore on the issue of his family. Joshua stood too, and offered to show her around the cavernous building. It was safer ground, and she immediately accepted. They moved slowly among the organized clutter, Joshua pointing out the various stacks and bales and boxes and barrels that constituted his working life. Next to a towering pile of crates, he stopped. A faint fishy smell came from the boxes. She read the stenciled label, dried cod from Boston on its way westward to the Ohio River Valley. They were standing close, and Joshua reached out and took her by the shoulders. He turned her to face him. She smiled up at him, but it was forced and faded quickly. For some reason, she was suddenly depressed. Yeah, because she wanted him to walk her home. She wanted to walk back home with him so she could see Nathan in front of him and finally open-fuckingly admit it. I'm really not into you, Joshua. I think my parents would like your brother. It'd just be so easy, you know? You're like functioning, and I can't have that because then I'll realize I'm the problem and I'll have to cheat on you and please my parents, because my life is just my parents just pleasing me. So maybe we should end this before it begins. I have no idea. Anything I have any idea whatsoever about does not go beyond the fourth book. So maybe the third book, I really don't know. There are like 12 of these things. They were standing. Knowing what it would mean if her father ever learned of this. And coming to Canal Street alone at night had taken more out of her than she'd expected. Plus, she'd only showed up to fight and tell him he was wrong and disgrace and shame his whole He sensed her change of mood. His dark eyes were grave, probing. She gave a little, nothing, She shook her head. I'm going to have to go, Joshua. I shouldn't be here. His hand came up and gently touched her cheek, tipping her head back. He leaned down and kissed her, at first his lips barely brushing hers, then quickly becoming firm, hard, almost insistent. Lydia kissed him back, but it was with a curious Something is the matter, Lydia. What is it? She looked up at him, her eyes round and troubled. If my father ever learned I had come here, she let it trail off. I told you they're talking about sending me to Boston. My aunt, father's youngest sister, runs a private boarding school for girls there. Not that she would tell him that, Joshua. Just string him along. Because she wants a way in to fuck his brother. Joshua had never spoken of it directly, but it was clear what was on his mind. She had those thoughts too, but it was with more and more reservations. Not that she would ever mention it. Did she want this man as her husband? Was this really love, or just a wild, irrational attraction? How did she feel about him? Wait, she doesn't even know how she... He touched her face again. I think I love you, Lydia. You're all I think about. Even when I'm working, I see your face in my mind. She couldn't bring herself to say it, 'cause it wouldn't be true. You'll see, Lydia, he said. Sudden heavy pounding on the outer door. Lydia asked in surprise. Yeah, they... Oh. Her face clearly reflected her mug of stout, her visit to the warehouse district would be common knowledge throughout all of the Finger Lakes region. Joshua turned toward the door, but Lydia grabbed his arm quickly. "Joshua, they can't see me here." He gave her just tell them not to say anything. Terrors of Canal Street were nothing compared to the